Destrier hummed softly, arms elbow deep in one of the hover transport's hover drives. They'd managed to limp it back on only one drive, but the other three had been busted when they rammed the barricade. Something sharp cut Destrier's hand, and he winced, gently extricating the limb from the hover drive's internals. Inspecting the small cut on his palm, Destrier pulled himself out from beneath the jacked-up hover transport. Dripping blood on the floor, he walked over to the sink in his little workshop and turned the tap on. Rinsing the cut with the blue-tinged water, he heard something clatter to the ground. He turned, curious as to who entered his shop. A young human boy in black, synthetic clothing bent down and picked up the piece of piping they'd knocked over. "Who are you?" Destrier asked, his voice a deep but soft rumble. The boy looked up and smiled. He was shockingly pale, his shirt bearing a depiction of a ribcage. The boy's voice was youthful, but at the same time ancient, powerful, inevitable. "I am the one every soul meets in the end. I am simply a humble guide to the immortal souls of the dead. You may call me Grim, Destrier." The words sent a cold shiver down Destrier's spine, a little panic creeping into his voice as he spoke, backing up a little so he bumped the sink. "Am I going to die?" Grim laughed softly, pulling a black and gold cone-shaped object from the air, the tip already a burning ember as Death took a long drag. "Of course not. Not yet, at least. No, I simply wish to talk. Shall we sit?" With the wave of a hand, the dark smoke Grim exhaled formed into two chairs that faced each other. Death took the one currently facing Destrier, before patting the seat in front of him. Recognizing the smoke, Destrier cautiously stepped over and took a seat, finding the chair a lot softer than he expected. Realizing he was still bleeding, Destrier picked up an oily rag and wrapped it around his hand before asking, What do you want to talk about?" Death's smile faltered. "Martha is alive, Destrier." He felt like he'd been hit in the face by a brick. "What?" Destrier asked, unsure if he'd heard right, or if it was just some sick joke. Death looked Destrier in the eyes, making Destrier blink. "Martha is alive, and she's waiting for you." Destrier put a hand to his mouth, a roiling storm of emotions boiling up in his gut, but the most prominent was a tidal wave of shame and regret. Vision blurring, Destrier hung his head. "Even so, for her sake, we should stay apart. I'm not sure the others will understand." That was when Death's smile grew warm as the summer sun. "Do you really think your friends would care? More importantly, of all people, the ones who have suffered and lost so much wouldn't understand love?" Wiping his tears away, Destrier sniffed. He missed her. Her smile, her touch. Maybe if he talked to the others. Destrier slapped himself. It would never happen. "Look, Grim, Death, whatever. I appreciate whatever this is, but I can't. I'd be putting her in danger just by being close. If you haven't noticed, there's not a lot of love for Geknosions here. Even the good ones. Look at Brown. He has to hide in the command center most of the time or someone would kill or seriously injure him. I don't want to put her in harm's way." Death grinned. "And that, my friend, is all the more reason to reunite. If you must know, Drake, my chosen, does not hate Geknosions. He hates those that would put another, sapient being in chains for profit. When the demon wakes, ask him about it. You might be surprised." Destrier looked down at his hands, huge and calloused from years of mechanic work. He imagined for a moment her small, clawed hand filling them again. "Maybe I will." Chuckling, Death stood, a cloak of void black forming around his shoulders. Checking an old-fashioned silver pocket watch that hung inside the cloak, Death sighed. "There's no such thing as maybe, Destrier. You've already made your choice, and it's the right one. Know that and hold to it." Giving the gentle giant a conspiratorial grin and a wink, Death disappeared with the sound of whipping fabric. Destrier stood as the chair dissolved beneath him. A small, rare smile came to the big man's face. Fucker read me like a book. Remin's joints creaked as he slowly swung his legs out of bed. Reaching for the bottle he kept on his nightstand, he groped around, not finding it. Looking over, he saw a note just beneath his hand. Look to your right? Remin muttered before slowly turning his head, neck grinding and popping from early morning stiffness. A teenage boy with stark gray eyes, pale skin, platinum hair, grinned at him as they took a pull from his bottle of whiskey. Wiping their chin with the ribcage-printed t-shirt, they chuckled. You've got good taste, Remin. Makes one wonder how you acquired it. Remin froze. He knew that voice. He'd heard it once before, a couple years ago. You know, I wasn't expecting the Grim Reaper to be a kid. Death shot Remin another grin, before lightly tossing the bottle. Remin watched, transfixed as the bottle floated on a cloud of black smoke. Taking it, the old man drank back a good quarter of the bottle before speaking again. You're not here to take me home. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to see color. I remember that from our last meeting, so... What do you want? The teen embodiment of death gave Remin a knowing look, before gazing at the plain metal ceiling. What do I want? Quite simply, to put some things in perspective, Remin. I've been around since the 2023 viral collapse of Terra, back before we knew FTL was possible. Yes, I too was once mortal. Do I miss it? Every day. Death folded their hands in their lap, leaning forward where they sat on the dresser before looking Remin in the eye. Remin did not blink. But the real question is, do I regret it? Remin, I have never regretted giving my life for those two. I was content when I died, happy almost. I did a good thing to the greatest of my abilities. So did you. Shut the fuck up, you ghastly bastard! Remin screamed as the isolated memory was dragged forward. A tightness clamped on the old man's chest as he began to sob, shoulders shaking. He choked out the words. I could have done more if I hadn't ran like a little bitch. I could have saved them. I could have done something. Anything. But I ran. Looking up at Death, Remin couldn't help but relive that moment. The sputtering of Gauss rifles interspersed the screams clogged in the air. Remin huddled in a near-collapsed house with his two best friends. They tried to stay quiet as the clomping of powered armor boots got closer. All three watched the cellar door as a light was shined onto it. There was no warning. The cellar door burst open, revealing a hulking figure, obscured by the light shining from its helmet. Sputtering noises filled the room. Screams, the smell of blood, pain, someone calling his name. The wind whipping through his hair as he ran, the hole in his chest leaking blood. A surprisingly warm hand landed on Remin's shoulder. The old man looking up into the face of a skull, a melancholy smile coming to his face. That's more like it. Death softly shook their head, jaw working as he spoke. Remin, do you remember what I said to you in that field of flowers? The old man stared down at the bottle in his hands, remembering so clearly how beautiful that field looked through his dying eyes. You said it wasn't my time yet, that I still had important things to do. I don't know what you were smoking, but I haven't done anything. It's all been the others doing the work. I'm just here for the ride. Remin could have sworn he felt Death's soft smile. That is correct, Remin. You still have very important things to do. I'm not sure you can ever forgive yourself, Remin. But Danny and Koito have. They wanted me to tell you something when they found out I was visiting. Remin looked up into Death's skull face, seeing not the entity, but the human inside it for the first time. His words wouldn't work, but Death didn't need them. They told me to tell you. Give those lizards hell for us and don't rush to get here. We'll wait for you however long we have to. Remin was shocked. Finally found his voice. Wait. What do they mean they'll wait? Death's skin faded into existence, revealing blotchy eyes, not unlike Remin's, and a sad smile. They refuse to walk the cobbles until they can walk them with you. It warms this cold heart, in a sad, sad way. Death stood to leave, but Remin caught his arm, making him look back. The old human's red-rimmed eyes had hope in them again, but his lips formed a question. The two whose lives you saved while alive, did you walk with them when they died? Death turned his face to the sky, deep, deep sorrow in his eyes. I did, but I couldn't bear to say goodbye. I walked them to the stairwell in disguise and told them I'd gone up them a while ago. Sometimes I wonder if they're still looking for me somewhere up there. And it hurts, because I know they'll never find me, and it's all because I couldn't handle goodbye. Take care, Remin. I need to get back to work. With the sound of whipping fabric, Death was gone, leaving only a folded photo in Remin's hand. Unfolding it, he felt a deep sense of sorrow. It was a photo of a small cliffside cabin in the countryside at sunset. 3 white crosses sticking up from the lawn. 2 were pressed into fresh mounds of earth, their paint fresh white. The third was old, faded, and somewhat mossy, was rooted firmly in the grass. 2 words etched into its arms on either side of the center beam. Thank you.